Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. I've talked a lot, on this podcast about an encounter that I had when I was a kid. I've talked about it multiple times already. I'm sure people who listen to this podcast, they're used to this story. And for the people that aren't, familiar with it, I'll tell it again. I won't go through all the details, but when I was a kid, about 8 years old, I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was this humming sound in my bedroom. I used to sleep in the attic at the time, and I had one of my brothers. He slept in the attic too, on the other side of the room. There was steps in the middle of the room. I slept on one side, he was on the other. And I woke up in the middle of the night, and I could hear this really strange, electronic humming sound, and in addition to the humming sound, there was something there. I could see. I had a blanket over my head. The light was on in the room, and I had this thin blue blanket over my head, and I could see the silhouette of a hand, a hand that had 3 fingers on it only. The fingers were thick on the bottom. They came to almost points at the end, at the tips. And it had like a small palm. I could make out an arm, and I could see where the elbow bend was. And anyhow, this hand would get closer to where my head was, and then further away, closer to where my head was, and further away. And this went on for the whole time. This whole incident lasted for about 20 minutes, and the entire time that hand just kept on doing this, getting closer to where my head was and further away. And during this, I could hear this humming sound, and I don't know I never heard anything like it before or since. But anyhow, I tried. I was asking, well, who is this? Who's there? And there was no reply. Just that humming sound continued. I was too afraid to look at it. I thought this thing might have been a demon from hell. I didn't even know about aliens or extraterrestrials. This was back in the 70s, so I had no idea about that kind of thing. It wasn't until years later, like maybe 10 years later, when I put 2 and 2 together and realized that this was an extraterrestrial. But anyhow, I yelled for my mom and dad. They didn't. Nobody came to the rescue. This humming sound was muffling my voice. I actually tried yelling before I started yelling for my mom and dad. I peeked out of the blanket, not in the direction of where the hand was, but on the other side of the bedroom, and I could see my brother sound asleep, like oblivious to what was going on. And I was trying to yell to him, and again, this humming sound was somewhat muffling my voice. But anyhow, this morning, I was, screwing around on my computer here, and I tried to come up with a close facsimile of the sound that I heard. Maybe there's other people, maybe there's people out there who are watching this, or and will hear this. More importantly, and maybe you had this kind of an experience. Maybe you heard something like this before, associated with some sort of an encounter that you believe was with an extraterrestrial. But anyway, if you have, I'd like to hear your comments on it. But anyway, for your perusal, for your amusement, here's the sound. Well, that's the sound of the alien. The sound that was in my bedroom that night. It was something similar to that. I don't know if I could ever recreate exactly. I don't know if it's possible. But that's something like what I heard that night. Did anybody else ever have this experience, or am I the only one? I'd like to know.